Manual smooth shading. This is a follow-up on the auto smooth shading video. You should go watch that one first. I'm going to create a cylinder again. This will be the last time. I'm going to display its normals so we can see how smooth shading works. In the Mesh menu, there are two submenus, Normals and Shading, which are used to specify which edges you want to look sharp or smooth, regardless of the angle of the edge. The Blender documentation calls this Custom Normals. I find these commands to be a little buggy. I'll show you some of these bugs and how to work around them. Use these tools with care. Use the Mesh Shading Smooth Faces command to get smooth shading started. You'll see the usual problem of some edges smooth that we don't want smooth. The way custom normals are supposed to work is you select one of these edges, for example, the top of the cylinder, and then use the Mesh Normals Split command to split the normals on that edge. But several things went wrong. These are the bugs. Even though I only selected the top edge, the bottom edge is also marked as split. Bug number 2, the normals on the top of the cylinder are calculated correctly, all pointing in the same direction, but on the side, I expected the normals to be pointing out sideways because they were only supposed to use the normals from the side faces. And the third bug is that the bottom of the cylinder is marked as sharp with this cyan color, even though I didn't select it to be split, and it's not actually split. It's still showing the smooth problem. And here's the screwiest bug of all. If I reach up here to the menu and change the select mode, for example, I just say, I want to select edges now. All of a sudden, all the normals on my model were recalculated. I don't believe changing selection modes should change the data in my model. Fortunately, changing selection modes from now on doesn't have that problem anymore, and all of the tools in the normals menu now work correctly from now on. Just switching between selection modes caused this split edge to be calculated correctly, and now the normals for the sides are pointing out sideways. The normals on the top are pointing up. That's what I wanted. And down here, the edge that I never selected is now marked as split, and it's calculated as if it was split. The normals are pointing out sideways, and I didn't tell him to do that yet. I might have wanted that, but I didn't select this edge, and it shouldn't have done this. I want to undo those split normals on the bottom. I select those, and the opposite of split is Mesh Normals Merge, right there next to split. And this is what I expected to happen when I selected the top of the cylinder and tried to split just those. So this has gotten me back to where I thought it should be before bugs started appearing. Now I can grab any other edges I want because the split and merge tools are now working correctly. I could split one of those edges. And if we look at that in object mode, you can see there's a faint line there where there's one sharp edge between two of the faces. I was able to put that in there with the split command, and I can take it back out again with the merge command. Split and merge are sort of like edge mark sharp and edge clear sharp commands. Split even paints the edges cyan, just like mark sharp does. However, you should not use the edge sharp command once you get into manual or custom normals mode, because these tools don't work very well with each other. Let me show you one of the things that I've seen happen. If I tell him to mark an edge sharp in the edge menu, for a second there I thought, hey, it worked. I've never seen edge sharp do anything useful. And now it looks like it worked, but wait a minute. These normals aren't pointing straight out. They're pointing up at a funny angle. And if I look at this cylinder from side on, I can see that all the normals which are supposed to be pointing down are now all cattywampus and pointing in screwy angles. So there's another bug. Let's see if I can undo that by hitting normals, merge again. Yeah, that looks like it worked. If you were paying attention, or if you read the documentation on these tools, the split command also turns on auto smooth in the object data properties panel. And in order for custom normals to work, you have to leave this turned on, because if you turn it off, things go back to what they looked like before we started doing this. The edges now have no effect. So auto smooth must be on all the time, but it has the angle disabled. If I try and crank this angle down below 11 degrees, nothing happens to my model. If I crank it up above 90, nothing happens to my model. The angle is disabled when you're in custom normals mode. The decision on what edges to leave sharp is no longer based on the angle. That's why this is disabled. But it's based on what edges you marked sharp with split. You have the power to control this on any edge now.